to TPI, the next generation of sports talk. What does TPI stand for? Tommy Phillips, idiot, of course. And here on TPI, I will bring you all the big stories in sports each week. We begin the NFL, the only sport that really matters. The Packers continued their torrid pace at home with 53 more points in destroying Philly. I used to dread the Packers playing the Eagles when Donovan McNabb was their QB, as he only lost to the Pack once. But since he left, things have been better in this series. Aaron Rodgers is playing at a very high level, but the Packers have a trap game this weekend in Minnesota before their big matchup against New England. Peyton Manning failed to show up this week in St. Louis, leading to an embarrassing loss for the Broncos. I don't think it's anything to worry about for Broncos fans, but rather just a typical Peyton laying an egg, which happens once in a while. Of course, it happens on the week I traded for him in fantasy, but actually because Peyton's all about the numbers, he did get a ton of garbage yards to make up for his putrid performance. Elsewhere in the NFL, it was the 4-6 Falcons moving into first place with a win over the Panthers, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers moved into the playoff race at 2-8 by beating the Redskins. Redskins. Am I offending you yet? Also, there were the night games where New England blew out Indianapolis, which is no surprise given that they've owned the Colts for the last 15 years. Pittsburgh up by Tennessee in a typical lackadaisical Steelers performance against a bad team, but they got the W, so that's all that matters as they try to win that horrible division, as my dad calls it, even though every team in the AFC North has a winning record. On now to college football, where the big news was Florida State surviving Miami and Alabama beating Mississippi State. Boy, am I glad we have a college football playoff now so that the national champion isn't decided by people's opinions. Oh, wait. It was typical pathetic post-Paterno play by Penn State this weekend versus Temple. Penn State will get to play in a bowl this year, and it's looking like an embarrassing bowl such as the Quick Lane Bowl in Detroit. But at least they'll play in a bowl, unlike that other team from Western Pennsylvania. We're moving inside Pirates baseball now, as Russell Martin is gone. No one in their right mind actually thought Martin would stay in Pittsburgh. Of course, John Thedko did, but like I said, the right mind. Not sure how the Pirates will fill the hole at catcher, but if history's any indicator, they will use the crap at the wall method, where they keep throwing stuff at the wall to see if anything sticks. Also, A.J. Burnett is back as a Pirate for a lesser amount of money, but I'm not too optimistic given that not only is he in his upper 30s, but also Joe Starkey likes him coming back. And everything Joe Starkey likes sucks, such as Pitt. The Penguins got one of the most improbable victories on Saturday in a shootout against the Rangers. I hate shootouts because they artificially inflate a team's record. Still, it was a thrilling game. But don't tell the fans at Console Energy Center who were in the parking lot by the time the Pens won the game. A winning shootout goal for the Rangers was waved off. Then Lundqvist came back out and Watts Sutter win it for the Pens. Now moving on to NASCAR. There was a wreck this weekend, as always. Okay, on to women's golf, where my girl Christina Kim won the Lorena Ochoa Invitational this weekend. Yes, I follow her on Twitter, and yes, I follow women's golf. She wrote a pretty good book a few years ago, actually. NBA news. Kobe Bryant is suffering with the Lakers as his team is losing nearly every game. Hard to call it suffering when you have gotten away with rape and are making tens of millions a year. But that's what ESPN calls it, so it must be true. Happy time. Happy 30th birthday, Tommy Phillips. Tommy is still searching for a girlfriend at the age of 30, and he is taking suggestions from anyone. If you know a single girl, please fix him up with her. Happy anniversary to the Nintendo GameCube. On November 18, 2001, the Nintendo GameCube came out in America to much fanfare. 13 years later, it turns out that it only had one good game, Super Smash Bros. Melee. It did have a very interesting controller, however, and Nintendo fans swear by that thing. Happy trails to Pitt's Bullhopes. Pitt managed to lose to basketball school North Carolina at football and is now 4-6. Actually, they can still go to a bowl if they beat Syracuse and Miami, but it'll most likely be an embarrassing one, such as the Birmingham Bowl. Southern hospitality, serious football. Yes, it really does say that on the Bulls logo. Alright, Stat Boy, time to tell us what we messed up. Of course, nothing, because I'm perfect. Good to hear. So that's it for this week of TPI. In the future, I hope to get some guests on the show who can help me spew out even more insanity. Thank you for watching TPI, and I hope to see you next week. Good night, Canada. TPI.